Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. Christos Voskres!
Christos Voskres! Hey!
Christos Voskres! Yes! I am Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hello.
Hello, and for those of you who are new here, this is This and That. We are going to discuss everything going on in the skating world this week and do it with some very fancy vases. There's some like Chip and Dale action.
But not that kind. There is a fun squirrel thing as a nod to what we're going to talk about later.
Yes, so if you are new here, please subscribe below and smash that like button because we need all the love we can get, just like the Angels of Plushenko who are hurting. They are just in tatters and
there's less and less angels these days.
Yes, Charlie has lost his angels.
That's right.
I don't even know if they get the reference, but that's what makes the name so fun for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Now, we did have like friends drop off little gifts for us, which, you know, we love swag.
See, that's why I have the squirrel, because like if I'm going to, this isn't even product placement, although it feels like it. Like I would take this to Central Park with the squirrel. So it's a nice little tie-in. And why are we tying this
if we wanted this, okay? We didn't like go be some like social media influencers. They're like, do you want picnics? And I was like, is it bougie? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a picnic. Like, yes, it sort of goes with the territory.
Oh, no. Right? Jonathan, have you like looked at the Perfect Picnic website? No, so Perfect Picnic, Mark Mitchell is leaving coaching for this summer, at least, but this is their new business venture of Mark and Peter of MJM, The Method, because they're opening another Perfect Picnic. Now there's one in New York, which is owned by Wendy Weston, which is right near Jonathan's apartment. And she used to coach at the Ice House in Hackensack, which Jen K also co-owns, who, you know, brought these to us. And Jonathan was like, who is Jen K? And I was like, she's the woman in Hackensack.
I was like, oh, that woman. Yeah, and I like had a whole exchange with her without putting it together that that's who she was. I should have been interrogating her.
Have you ever watched those like World War II documentaries about how like the female Nazis were the ones who really ran the camps on time? Like,
oh, okay.
It's like that level of intensity and organization that is going on with some Jen K. Like she is running that Ice House.
Okay.
My friend Cody visited for a lesson with Galina and he was like, where do I warm up? And she's like, so all of our indoor warm-up areas are closed, but the kids like to go behind there where they think I can't see them. And he was like, absolutely. All right, this is
amazing.
Yes. So yeah, I was like looking on the website because I was like, picnic, like what are we making here? All right. There is some bougie experience that I think we need to look into. All right. Peter and Mark are, I mean, I know they have questionable methods at times, but they have always had like good packaging. They seem to vacation well and live well. I think that they know a good. Listen, there's a Long Beach picnic in Sag Harbor, and there's a Hamptons helicopter ride beach picnic situation where you can be on a helicopter ride and then go and have a picnic, and there's a seafood picnic. So I believe that Mark and Peter know bougie things, and on P-Town, you know, gays are fancy, all right?
Or at least I am, I don't know.
In Pearl Island, they spend the money on cocaine. In P-Town, it's on bougie picnics, and that's why it's better for families. Yes.
Okay.
Now, I was like looking at it, and I was like, what did they give us? And this is what I think it's like so funny about like their new business venture. There's some Mountaineer hard cheese going on here,
which we love.
We've got some like delicious, you know, this is like that like crusty bread that like already has the garlic and the butter like baked into it.
He was saying they often do baguettes and stuff. Again, this is why I have the squirrel, because I would do this
like
in Central Park.
And all of this stuff. And I was thinking, this is all the stuff they wouldn't want to see their skaters eating. And you know what? That's what makes it even more delicious. And it
does come in like nice portions. Like this, I saw this and I was like, oh God, get this away from me.
Well, do olives count as a vegetable? Because there are 5 types of them in here.
They're low carb.
Okay. All right.
Low sugar.
Listen, we could say that they're taking the summer off, or we could say that Mark and Peter are having a cheat day, right? This is...
Which I doubt they do, actually. We've seen shirtless photos of both of them, and I don't.
Well, they're on P-Town. I don't think, just like skating, I don't think you can have a cheat day in P-Town unless they're going to be in Bear Week, which I don't think is their cup of tea.
They don't have the fur. That's my Speaking of cup of tea, they also gave us tea. Did you even do that on purpose? That's pretty brilliant, that transition?
Of course I did, Jonathan Byer.
Okay, because we come to spill it here.
Yes. So I come on. They're like, they've got one of those designer dogs. And here's why I think it's genius about this. Because the moms are buzzing because they took the summer off. And the Letovs came to the new skating club of Boston where they have the Tenley Albright Center and you can go and like soak up all the photos of Tenley.
Get a free checkup.
It's kind of a brilliant thing. Because remember when Ross didn't get chosen for the Olympics, Mark's initial reaction was, I'm done. I am done. So I'm not surprised that someone like that.
Because he came on the show right afterwards.
Yeah.
And in a very Megan Duhamel sort of way, had to air his truth about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was very measured in it. Megan had more passion than, he looked like he could own a bougie business in P-Town, maybe a bed and breakfast as well. I could see, right?
Well, it's interesting.
Why not put the picnic in like a B&B, right? You could have the designer dog. You could have like overpriced bath soaps, like in a little
nice sheets. Yeah. Good linens. Here's the thing. All the qualities that might have made him a tight coach that then maybe also made some of his skaters a little tight might actually make him an excellent business person. That kind of rigidity and organization and perfectionism and all that sort of stuff.
You may not want to call his skaters tight when they just gave us a free picnic. That's maybe neither here nor there.
No. Or I mean that intensity, that perfectionist quality, and I want perfectionism in a business owner. That's what I'm saying.
Jonathan Byer gets us in so much trouble. Okay. Unreal. I mean, and it's okay because Jonathan, I've been watching you on this show and I don't know that you can make a picnic.
Oh, no one said I could. No one said I could.
I've been watching you on The Worst Cooks and I don't know.
It's real.
Don't know. Did you practice cooking between the first and second rounds?
No, they kept saying on the show, they're like, well, have you been practicing cooking? And I was like, did you watch the first time I was on? Of course I'm not practicing cooking. It's something I'm not good at, so I don't want to do it. And I live in New York City. So it's all about like ordering in or catering or like getting it to go.
How much of it is staged? Okay, because like, is the cook with the lesbian energy, is she really like commentating? Like,
oh no, she's my buzz. She's like my friend now. She came over for the first episode and she's coming over again tonight. And she brings dinner, by the way. And then I just like—
Did she make it?
Yeah.
Do you have fancy plates?
Yeah, of course. Like that I can do. I like lay out a tablescape to die for, and then like have catered all of this like charcuterie and like all these appetizers and desserts and stuff. But I really, there's no shtick there. I mean, I know everyone was making fun of me on the internet because I didn't know how to make a grilled cheese. Legit, I had never done one. So I sort of am on the show as like a teach me how.
Did you hamper you as a kid that you couldn't make a grilled cheese?
Arguably the opposite, but I think that we just didn't eat grilled cheese and stuff like that growing up. So like
that?
No, not as a kid. I was only fat in my mid-20s.
Oh. I'm sorry.
That was post-college. I was a very thin child.
We didn't learn about herbs yet. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. You never learned about a grilled cheese in college? I mean, what?
No. Well, because
you know why? We can't be having grilled cheese because of the mucus and then
I wasn't one of those, but I was always living in a major city where just like kitchens weren't that great in my apartments.
But like you were in the choir, were the guys all like with the scarves and the bottle of water being like
Wait, Dave. Choir? Soloist.
They didn't put you in choir?
Soloist. No.
Every vocal performance musician at Ithaca College had to be in the choir.
They weren't at Curtis, just saying.
Okay.
Juilliard doesn't have a choir.
Listen, I was the one from outside the school who entered thinking that I was going to keep up my musical training I did my freshman year at Penn State and I took private voice lessons for 1 credit, and you just had to perform in there was like a recital at the end of the semester. And I thought that oh, they didn't offer that for non-majors. It was like very, you go to Ithaca, it was like, woo, you can't just get on someone's lesson schedule here, right? Meanwhile, at Penn State, you're probably paying them more per hour than they're making from Penn State. So they're thrilled for the money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I loved my teacher there at Penn State. I go to take with all of the stuffy music majors who never leave the practice room at Ithaca, and I thought like I had entered Bizarro World. There was no fun.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a lot of intensity.
Yeah. Some people think
social
that's
skills,
right?
Yeah. It was a lot like skating, you know. It was
very
outside skating.
Very tunnel vision. Very tunnel vision.
No one got any of my jokes. It was, you know, the whole thing was.
Yeah. Not your scene. Okay.
I did buy the tux to perform and was like, never again. All right.
Amazing. I remember the first
when I was buying the tux, in my mind I was like, I am getting the hell out of this choir. Okay, it was
amazing. No, for me, the difference between choral singing and solo singing is very much the difference like asking Hanyu if he was in a synchro team ever.
You know what?
That's how I view. And if there's nothing wrong with it, but
others is an important skill, Jonathan.
Yeah, but I do it on stage and ensembles, but it's a totally different. It's just a different craft.
Because you know what's wrong with the person, with the girl who was like played Annie as a child? Do you know what's wrong with that personality type? They always think they're the lead, and unless there are that many parts for character actresses, there aren't that many 1950s musicals anymore, Jonathan. Okay, not everyone is Ethel Merman. All right,
and and don't you
wish the girl who played Annie? All right,
wouldn't it be a better world?
Like, she's just loud and and they don't age well. All right,
no.
When you think that like maybe you shouldn't be crying when you don't get the role of Annie and you're like one of like the orphans that like no one remembers their name, it's not bad because you'll do better later in life. No one likes Annie when she grows up.
Dave, it's like when we talk about if you've won novice nationals.
Yes.
Yeah. May not always be the blessing you were hoping for.
So here's the thing, all those novice nationals and like juvenile from MJM, there's this whole thing like who's going to stay and work with Ross, and Jenny's first coach Deirdre actually works at the MJM. So everyone in skating does the same thing. It happens all the time. And I was talking to Jen K about this, and I was like, this is what I think is going to happen, and this is my prediction for MJM, and I'm going to say it here before God, and I have not talked to any picnic person about this. Okay. This is how skating mothers are. And like, as I've come back, I've only realized it more because Hackensack is just skating times 10, right?
Okay.
This is what is going to happen. They're all going to go to the Letovs. But the Letovs see themselves as high-level coaches, right? They have that pair team that we like, Audrey and Misha, they've got Krasnozhan, they've got Jimmy Ma, they have, you know, they had Hannah Harrell, they had all of these people. But they don't have like a ton of assistants and like this whole thing. You don't have the same amount of emotional energy to give to every student. You just
How could you?
If you're doing your job, right? But every mother who brings their juvenile child wants the name coach. Like the kid that brings their, like the mom that brings their kid to Tom Z and moves to Colorado. We had one of them at the Ice House. All right. Do you think that Tom Z is capable of worrying about your juvenile child when he has like 15 of them or 10 of them, right? When he's worrying about Brady Tennell. Like, what does he have to worry about more, right? Like, what is going to matter more for his business long term? Right? It's just the way it works.
Well, and where are his skills? Him being able to teach these beautiful triple axels to people is a different skill set than a juvenile skater is in need of at that time.
Right. Listen, you need a coach that's going to give you solid technique and pay attention to you, and you don't need to win at the lower levels. It's more important that you get developed properly.
Right.
But everyone worries about getting every extra level on spin, getting the extra spin flexibility, and then they ruin their backs and get injured and bye. So it's like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but every parent thinks it's a sprint early on, and every parent has this level of drama. So you're going to have everyone go to the Letovs. You just had to deal with all of these nightmare parents during a pandemic. You can make some bougie picnics, hang out with the rich gays. And then in a year, when everyone wants to, leave the Letovs and they come into the shop and they're like, oh, we just miss you so much. You can be like, well, we'll come in, but only once a week. or I'll consult on your music, but you have to
and charge more. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you could like do both businesses, right? And then you can do that. I think
you can have your cake and eat it too. Ah, picnic
really
joke.
Can.
Okay.
But you better not see any of those skaters eating any charcuterie.
Eating that
perfect
picnic. So. Okay. They're gonna rotate if they're gonna rotate.
Also, like, I just love on this website, like salami, you know, there's like salami baguettes and they're like, it's locally sourced. And you're like, what is locally sourced salami? Like, is that how sausage is made? In my mind, like, we don't really want to know. Like, salami doesn't even come from an animal. Like, what? I mean, I'm sure, I mean, obviously, but like, it's processed and I don't know. It comes from the animal delicious. All right.
Yeah.
That is where
those kinds of taglines aren't usually selling points for me.
You know what? I think it just adds to bouginess. I'm like, oh, it's locally sourced and you have oat milk. La, Shy, and I are there. All right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
These are our people, Jonathan. Okay?
Yeah. And isn't oat milk supposedly supposed to be better for the environment somehow than even almond milk? That's what I read somewhere and I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Listen, oats have feelings, Jonathan. Okay?
Same.
And you know what? The Quakers found them first. All right?
And made them delicious. That's it. You know what? There you go. That's what I was
cultural
having.
Appropriation. Okay.
As a child, I was eating like instant Quaker oatmeal. Like that was my level of cooking.
Well, you certainly weren't making grilled cheese. And do you hate pomegranates now? What's your take on the pomegranate relish situation?
Oh my God, that was well, Bobby Flay did all these like pomegranate things, and they were like 800 variations on a theme with one pomegranate. And what they forget to really drive home on the show is you're under this crazy time limit while you're having to talk to the camera, while you're having to run around to get the ingredients. So could I do all of these things? Of course, I'm not an idiot, but like the minute you have to be chatting to the camera and rushing, it's the rushing in skating, in music, in anything we do, we talk about taking your time. You even just talked about it in the juvenile process, like take your time, get your basics. So for someone who has no cooking skills to then be given like, whatever task to do, and then being told to do it as fast as humanly possible, that's when I get flustered as an individual, even if I do know what I'm doing, and I definitely didn't know what I was doing in this.
Having known some of the MJM mothers, I can confirm they are nightmares.
Okay.
And some own it more than others, right? But they,
okay.
Here's the problem when you go to these coaches that have 1 million students, is that every skating mother is looking around because none of them work and they all really need to, by the way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, did he just give her better music? Did he spend 30 seconds longer with her on that jump than he spent with my daughter? Excuse me. I would want to get the hell out too and have a picnic business and come back.
Right.
Like, you're telling me that, you know, Mark Mitchell had been skating his whole life. He's probably starving, all right? He's probably never eaten, all right? Between P-Town and the competitions and
just running away from bossy moms. I think it's a real thing.
Maybe he just wants some Bresciola. I mean, come on. I would love some.
Well, it was interesting. We were even seeing footage from like all those Danny G clinics that are now.
By the way, we have spies in Mexico that we have been planning this that are going to just give, they are charging $300 a half hour for a lesson with either Sergei Dudikov. We need a better nickname for him because the other one's Hot Sergey. Now he needs a nickname. He can't be not Hot Sergey. Okay, like, and Danny G.
Yeah.
And does Eteri get a percentage of that? Like she gets 40% of all the girls?
Well, but here's what I'm wondering, because like, what's one time with these guys going to do in a half an hour? What is this really going to do for the craft of skating? I just can't help but think it's bragging rights for the parents, don't you think?
Listen. All of these seminars, you can learn 1 or 2 really good tips. But in terms of like a game changer, no, unless you pay for lessons with them every day. And maybe if you start to spend a month, 2 weeks, you can learn something changing. They might give you a little tip that helps you, but like the more money is the bigger investment, right? With all of these things, the more you put into it, the more you get out. A half hour, I mean, if you're doing choreography with Danny G, do you even get behind like drawing the heart on the ice? Like how long does that take to learn?
Exactly.
But if you're some like wealthy ass mom that's going to book them for an hour and a half every day while they're there for 2 weeks, you might get something more out of it than others. I mean, I actually saw when Doug Haw and Brian Orser did the seminar at Hackensack, and I was there for a little bit, and they were giving kids tips on combinations that were like good tips. I don't know that I would remember it every day when I went in the rink, but the actual thing that they were telling the kids about how to reach back for the toe loop and like their theory on it was interesting. The problem is that you learn something at a seminar. Are you going to go back to your coach and be like, well, I learned this from Brian Orser? And how do you think Galina Mievskaya is going to react to that?
Right.
You know what happened? Wait. So Jojo Starbuck gave me a drill on a scratch spin to center it. I worked on it. It helped. And I was trying to explain to Galina, like, Jojo wants me to work on this every day. Do you think I should be doing this, right? Or can we? I said, can we work on it for a minute, right? And she goes, Dave, I very know Jojo. I love it, Jojo. Very professional, working with so many IMG skaters, so many, very expensive. Dave, this is how Sonia Henny skated.
There's something to that. There's something to that.
She was champion, Olympic. She cannot skate right now. She did. Maybe you could be second.
Amazing. Okay, so she finds that particular exercise outdated. Is that what you're trying to say, Galina?
And then, so Jojo wanted me to do these turn mohawks, and for this transition that looked really pretty, and they would take like probably like 2 weeks to kind of master and get enough knee bend, and right. And she goes, Dave, I love it, Jojo, but I am professional coach. You will be too dizzy.
You'll be too dizzy. Amazing. Okay.
Okay. I was stuck in between two Russians this week. Galina and Igor from Siberia. All right. Galina, I asked Igor to sharpen my skates before we went to the Benoit clinic that was in Brooklyn. Of course, it was in the middle of nowhere because Russians love to go to Brooklyn. It's their natural habitat. Okay. All right. And it doesn't feel like my usual sharpening. I've never had Igor sharpen my skates before. And he said he measured it and he gave it 1/2. Now, I thought in the past that I was at 5/8. But like, people have said no. I asked Jim at Ice House. He said, no, you're 1/2. Of course, with Jim, you can never get an appointment for like at least a week because he's so booked. So this, like, my skates are like not feeling so great. Can you do a quick sharpening? Like, that does not happen. Like, you got to plan in advance. Like, you have to plan like a boyfriend is coming over and like, I need to eat salad all day, right? Like, this is the kind of thing. And like, I'm going to skate this weekend. This is what day I'm going to moisturize. This is what, like, you got to plan. Okay. Like,
right.
So it doesn't feel like right. And then I'm working on stuff with Galina. I said, like, I just got a sharpening. And then she's like looking and she's like, I think it's too deep. Galina goes, put your skate on the board. So I'm like Tanya Harding, all right? Like, we're like at the board, right?
Okay.
She just like runs her hand over it and she goes, too sharp. Telling Igor, this is ice dance sharpening. She goes, telling him, this he giving you for ice dance. And he goes, no, Dave, I give you 1/2. No ice dancer skates on 1/2. And she goes, no, I telling you, I am professional coach. This is not 1/2. I call Vladimir, Victor a brother. He on vacation. So she's like, I really think she runs the mafia. Like, she's just like calling
in her own way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Victor a brother. Oh, he make it perfect sharpening. I take a Johnny skates. I take a Vladimir. He sharpen. Johnny jump triple axel and warm up. Perfect. Right away. Right before. Oh, so good. And I'm like between Galina and Igor on a sharpening, and he won't just like call her. I'm like, Igor, why don't you just like have a glass of wine and call Galina? Dave, I would need like 2 bottles. You know, I'm like...
Well, so what did you end up doing with the blade?
So Igor like fixed it a little bit, and then we're just like getting used to it. But like, Igor is like, each machine has a different signature. It feels different.
I believe that, don't you?
Listen, I love it, Igor, but I'm not used to his sharpening. I think we will just, you have to learn in life to like, you have to let Galina win, right? Like you have to like.
Yeah.
You're going to win like maybe once out of like 10 times, right? So we're just going to like use this sharpening, just like get used to it. And then the next time I'll just like let her take it to Vladimir. All right?
Okay.
It'll just like.
And now you know. Yeah.
He's a Plushenko, he's an angel boy. He's, you know, dealt with this woman for 40 years. You know, I think it's right.
So just, I'm curious, like when would you need them sharpened again?
Well, it depends how much you're skating. It's like, there's like a certain number of hours that they tell you in the shop, and then coaches tell you a little bit differently. So it depends. When Galina says I need a sharpening again is when.
Well, like, would you do it before nationals in June?
That's what I'm wondering if we need to. It depends how many hours I'm skating before then. So
okay.
We will see. But definitely not having like this whole shit show happen again. Like glad it's happening now, and because I'm like, you lose a couple of days when you're like listen, I'm not the most talented spinner. It's taking me a minute to adjust. Okay. My spinning comes from work. It does not come from ability.
Natural gifts. Okay, fair enough.
Right. It is. Anyway, let's move. It's just, but I did get my costume this week. So I think,
my God, it looked stunning. And then the back looked like a nod to a particular ice dancer I know you like.
What's your impression? You know, I got a master Caron. You know, my music, Hugo Chouinard, Hugo Angel Boy from Montreal, Sandra Bezic suggested.
Great.
Marie Flan said, great choice.
Great. I thought the costume was like a beautiful form. It was simple but elegant. It was the back that had some real Tessa Virtue vibes going on.
Okay, so when I gave Hugo, I mean, I'm very opinionated, right? But like, I didn't like micromanage like his. This is what I gave him a couple references of like styles that I liked. I said I really like Scott's Olympic Moulin Rouge look, which is very similar to a couple costumes that Alex Johnson had when he used Matthew Caron that I was obsessed with his last season of competition.
Yeah, he had this like black angled thing that was so stunning. Yeah, and
he had this maroon and black thing, and it was like mesh on the sleeves, and it like there was mesh maybe here, and it like had a shape that he came, and it's all jersey material, but like he sews it in a way that it looks like velvety and depth.
Yeah, it did look very velvety. Yeah.
So I gave it to him, and originally my idea was I always wear, like my friends tease me because I always wear red, and I always wear like maroon or like shades of red, and I really wanted. I've had this idea for the last year of like a deep purple and black, maybe with like a little silver airbrushed on it. Not like gaudy metal silver, but like a little just like air
shimmer. Yeah.
Gray, yeah. Right. With some stone. And Galina goes, I don't like it purple. Reminds me of Christ on the cross.
I was going to say it has religious connotations. It's such like an iconic sort of.
I am a good Catholic boy. What's wrong with that? All right. I'm gonna get that deep purple costume for Matthew. I'm telling you, like it's like
it will happen one day. Okay,
it will happen. All right. Like,
but this was a lovely compromise. This has purple hues in it.
Yeah, what's hysterical is that like, you know, it has like the neck. My first skating costume, because I was skating on a budget, my friend edited my music. I skated to Maria and the Violin String, which I stole from Senya Makarova, which I watched her do at Senior B. And I skated in Uniqlo pants and a shirt, which like wasn't great for bending or anything, but I was like, channeling the Paul Wiley monochrome, like,
yeah, it totally worked at the time. Yeah.
Hysterical is that, now I have like the expensive version of that,
you upgraded. Yeah.
Yes. But it's just like funny to me that I tried to get away from what I usually do. And like, now it's like my style, but with a more upgraded look.
But I like that. I like that. Yeah.
So anyway, I really love Scott's, but the thing I chickened out on one part, and I'll explain why. And like, this is my own insecurity and I can own it. Scott had mesh all the way down the sides.
Right, I remember that.
In my family, on my dad's side of the family, the women would always call it like the least spare tire. If I even gain an ounce, it goes like over the obliques, like in the love handle region. And like, I don't know what would scream adult skating more than like a really expensive costume with like a love handle bubble. Like, I just didn't want that to happen.
Okay, yeah.
And Alexa Kaniram said, well, you could put like nude underneath the mesh. And Matthew was like, no, we cannot. These will not. And I trust him.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. I will just like, we will work around it. And that's why we have more of a shape on the bottom.
Fine.
Like, yeah.
Especially because a lot of the things you'll be doing, you're going to be twisting and bending in that certain area. So even the most fit person it may just be less flattering to draw the attention to that area.
I just like, because we're doing it, like, he's mailing it. I've never gotten one before. My biggest thing would be like, oh my God, there's no time. And it looks like you have like a spare tire at the bottom of your costume. Just.
You don't want anything to detract from the line.
Jeff Billings being like, Christy has nothing to hide, in her costume. And you're like, well, we're 35, all right?
Yeah.
You might want to keep a perfect picnic before we compete at adult nationals, and I want to be able to do that if I can.
Exactly.
That's what this costume allows. All right. And
good for you.
Go on my Instagram and look at the costume if you haven't seen it. I put it on there the other day. So anyway,
it's really lovely. It's really lovely.
You know what?
I think he's one of the most gifted costumers of now.
He is
for
sure boy. All right.
Okay.
Very
not Plushenko Angel.
You would love it. Like when he does it, when he sketched, like he just like called me over FaceTime, like the Facebook version. And he's like in his apartment and he's got like some like black table and like he definitely has like the decorative like cocktail glasses on the side, like all, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the bedroom at my parents' house. And like Matthew Caron was just like living how Marie-France would live. And you're like,
yeah,
oh
exactly. I love that. The insight.
I like wasn't prepared for this. I'm like in my sweatpants and my like, what's going on. Right?
Amazing.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Genius, Angel Boy. Okay. But Galina goes, the front, perfect. Good enough for champion world. The back. And I keep thinking she's going to want to use the word feminine. I'm like, she's going to say.
I was just going to say, she might say it's
she's
feminine.
An old school Russian,
Did she say flamboyant?
It's maybe too sexy. Too sexy.
Because of the sheer?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think she's reacting to seeing the sheer on a white mannequin because like everyone does, even though they don't. It's just like how he uses the little shorts because he doesn't use the whole pants. Do you know how many people ask me like, are you going to compete in shorts? Like, yes, I'm going to pay for a really expensive costume to compete in booty shorts. Like, do you think I'm on Drag Race? Like, have you lost? Have we met? Like, what is wrong with you? Okay. Do you know how many people like?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Hélas.
Listen, when we rip on the Russian girls, as we will for their costumes, because they're all going to look like they are in Yentl.
Right.
They tend to dress in Sambo.
Gone through the shredder.
Right. And they're going to be like, well, what did you wear? I am just going to send them all my picture on Instagram, okay? Because those trolls come out. I'm going to put it in a favorites folder and I'm going to go because we get all the comments. You hate Russia. You're jealous. You're this. You wish you could wear their costumes could look like. I am just going to send it. Boom. I spent the money. Boom. You think that me, like,
Yeah.
I don't have the Russian Gazprom money sponsoring my skating. Okay, this came out of my pocket. These girls are government funded. They can spend it. Maybe Eteri's getting more money for herself. Okay.
Right, exactly.
Why are they not calling Matthew Caron? All right. Boom,
it's
boom.
True.
Boom.
It's
and
true.
You know those trolls come out from Russia in droves. They are like protecting the sanctity of like Evgeny Medvedeva's right to wear her hair in a crown on the top of her head. All right.
Right. Until they turn their back on her too. Yeah.
Yeah, but they all come back. All right.
They do all
Russians
come back.
Love
Dave.
power. Okay.
Yeah.
Russians get in. Tarasova kissing her ass on the news. Oh, remember when they were fighting like a year and a half ago? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember when Tarasova and you were fighting just a few months ago.
We are not fighting. I have nothing but love for
Tarasova. It's true. It's true.
I mean, I don't have to deal with her. I think she's great.
Yeah, exactly. On the periphery, she seems great. What fun. What a hoot. What a character.
She seems great. She loves you. She calls you fat. Then she says you have no talent. And Eteri was right. Like, I think, then
all in a day.
Your birthday, then she loves you. I mean, this is the way it goes. This is called coaching. This is called love. Telling it like it is.
There it is.
Listen. I've met some Tarasovas in my day. All right. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I asked Igor, I said, what is it like to work with Tarasova? Dave, she yells very loudly and no one knows what she says. No one has a clue what she is saying about. Igor tells this story that they were with Tatiana Navka because they trained together with Julin before the 2005 Worlds. Tarasova comes in to watch practice, fur coat, everything. And wait, there's some story about someone like pissing in Tarasova's shoe. That happened too. Like, yes, someone got really mad at her once. Like, or they lit her shoe
like a cat? Oh my God.
Her shoe on fire or something. Something happened with Tarasova's shoes at the rink once.
Wow.
Igor didn't tell me that story. Someone else did. He used to go to Russia. He doesn't want to.
Whoa.
Well, she has strong opinions and everyone smiles when they take them. And then
goes and lights her shoe on fire. This is
Excuse me. People do the same thing when Joe Inman tells them about music, and to his face they're like, oh my God, you were so helpful, thank you so much. And then Jason Dungeon turns around and goes to Alyssa Sisney, we're not going to change a goddamn step. And then you know what the judges say at nationals? Oh my God, thank you for taking the advice, it was so much better, you look so beautiful. Okay. This is the game of skating, Jonathan. All right. Like it or leave it. Everyone has an ego and everyone is like, oh, so thank you so much for your opinion.
Okay. Nuts. Just nuts.
I'm sure it's the same in opera.
It can be. You just smile and take the advice and then throw it out, the minute you walk out of the room half the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So then what's different with skating?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a lot of ego balancing that happens.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but in everything I find, but yeah.
Apparently she said something to Navka like, your 15th step was flat. And like yelling at her. And Igor goes to Tatiana like, what's your 15th step? And Navka's like, I don't know. They're just like.
Yeah, just general rage. Yeah.
She was very intense about it.
Okay.
That is for your coach to figure out and correct you, right? Like this is.
Crazy.
Excuse me. Could you imagine if Tarasova came into your rink? Like, just.
The energy alone. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember, we were talking to someone, maybe you were talking to Shaylin or something, when she was just like, I don't know that I could think about skating that much. Like it is a 24/7 commitment to that woman. That the passion for it is legitimate, even if like the frenzied discussion or the generic yelling may seem non-specific, but the passion for the sport is real.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Where other people, I don't know, like, I don't know that someone like Eteri maybe carries a passion for the art of skating, but she does a job and she knows how to get results and that's her business. Oh, and she's good at that business.
Oh, I think she is.
But passionate about what? Passionate about her own advancement or results? Or
about being a coach.
Yeah. But I mean, whether or not
I don't think doing the Jonathan Byer, Tom Dixon art of skating.
That's what I'm saying. Or the Tarasova. I think Tarasova believes in the art of skating, which brings us
trying to get a result. You don't think she's schmoozing judges and doing things?
Oh, yeah. But I think it's because she wanted to
go out with the judges for her birthday at the like. Do you think she really likes these people?
Right.
How people will say you have no friends in skating. You have allies. You have no friends. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. Okay.
Yeah.
It's bleak. That's a little bleak. You do have friends, but like this whole like when it gets to competitive at that level, it's a little bit different, right? It gets very intense, very cutthroat, and feelings get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
So
clearly,
listen, Julie Marcotte didn't call her brother that she was like coaching.
Let's talk about that for a second. Canada takes us out of Russian drama for 1 second. 1 second, we're talking about one country other than Russia, and then bam, the Trusova announcement hits. We can't stay out of Russian figure skating drama for more than a week.
Galina goes, Dave, don't lose its sleep. You'll be very busy. Russia on top. I ask you, why you, because one day she goes to the rink, why don't you ever talk about American skaters?
Who would we talk about?
I was like, we have no one interesting. Like, what are you going to do? Absolutely right. She was like,
yeah.
Do you know what I do to get back at her? Galina, how's Ukraine doing? Oh, very sad situation.
Yeah, okay.
No, coaches elsewhere. They are not in Ukraine. So anyway, I think, what do you think of Trusova going back to Eteri? Like, what is
I know, again, I was just like, and we're right back. We're right back to the same conversation. I mean, I'm intrigued because when was the Raphael picture taken with Plushenko? And
like a week and a half ago. Like, no, maybe 2 weeks.
Because
Raphael just did an extended interview the other day that was released, completely now outdated, like boom, yada yada.
Yeah, that's what sort of confused me. Again, I think right now, especially with Trusova returning, she's got 6 of Russia's top ladies, maybe 6 of Russia's top 7 ladies. And if that helps Trusova, great. I mean, there's so much behind the scenes here. So as an outsider compared to the knowledge you have firsthand, I just see that Plushenko in his statement was not throwing Trusova under the bus. I felt this was very much like a Trusova and Plushenko, all good. He does actually legitimately hope that she does well, seemingly really does like her. We'll try to include her in shows in the future. I hate when he keeps bringing up the money because he's like, she's leaving with 5 quads and a whole bunch of money in her account. And I was like, I guess I didn't know why we needed to include that part. And then, I mean, we know exactly what he's saying when he's like, well, I hope she doesn't have to do a bunch of interviews where she talks about how foolish it was that she ever left in the first place. Obviously, as I read it, as a nod to what Kostanai's had to do with all this groveling. And I think if Trusova, again, I admire a student and a disciple of the sport. And Trusova was that to me. She went and learned from someone else. And I think probably has some good takeaways from it, even if it didn't materialize at the World Championships the way she was hoping. In the fall, we saw she was probably working on some different approaches to the jumps that she can take with her. And if ever there was a time for her to have gone and tried something, this would have been the season in which to do it. What do you think?
We're like writing down so many notes as you're talking, so many.
Okay.
So when I was talking to Galina about this and talking to other people, and people pointed out that the really big inexperienced thing that Plushenko did was on the warm-up of the short program for the world. Right. And that morning, you can't do a quad in the short program, and he had her do a quad Lutz, and then she over-rotates the triple in the program.
And we know that he did that, or he allowed her to do that? Or
allowed it, or listen. If you're a coach and you have a kid that's on the warm-up that's at it, like you're not in control as a coach of what they're doing, those warm-ups are choreographed.
Right.
The order of what you do. So you're not, ultimately it's your fault that you're not in charge of your skater. Like, how did you let that relationship get to where you're not directing the show? Like, what are you doing? Are you really a coach, or are you just like standing there to get your picture on Instagram? Like, right? Like, let's call a spade a spade. So like, and if you're not controlling, and we know that she's a willful skater with a father who maybe is on par with like Nathan Chen's mom and Patrick Chan's mom in terms of trying to direct the show, right? And if you're in that kind of a situation at the coach, like, this is not a good experienced way to do it. And she was like, and there were so many coaches privately that will like rail on that, and other skaters about how foolish that was. Remember, Megan Duhamel said that when she learned the quad lutz throw, she lost the timing and the feeling for her triple. And it's a very complicated thing to do, to differentiate in your body of both the triple and the quad, especially for something like the lutz. Like, it just gets very complicated, right? So especially for like a high stress element like that. It's why when people work on the triple axel, they start to lose their double axel sometimes. Like, this kind of stuff happens until you become like an expert at differentiating both. Yeah. Which Trusova was not at that level with the quad lutz this season, because it had really been off all year and not as consistent as it had been prior, because she had also sprouted and grown several inches during quarantine and all of this. Galina had one point. She goes, look, you're American boy. You understand contracts. What kind of coach doesn't sign a contract through the Olympics?
But maybe that was the deal in getting her. Maybe that was they're only going to do it if they only had a 1-year probation, probationary.
Probably it was like a trial.
Yeah.
If you think about, she left on the day of her contract that expired. He was on vacation. I believe he knew it was coming. Right. This is
because he
knew that she was talking to Lyshev. Lyshev didn't. And remember, Eteri, like, they play coy. There are so many, like, the Russians play coy in the media, and then the fans would be like, "No, you're lying," and then you're like, "See." Lyshev said that they were talking to them.
And then Eteri was like, well, how would he know? He doesn't even do that stuff. Yeah.
But it was like they were negotiating behind the scenes. This is what was happening. Trusov wanted a different choreographer. They want different this. They go back and forth. There's a situation with competition where if you're one-on-one, but you have like a really experienced coach, a real specialist, you can make it on your own. But in ice dance, Virtue Moyer and Davison White trained together. Tessa and Scott bitched about it. They complained, that Marina favored the other team at the end, even though they had been injured for 2 years, right? Or even more times during it. What did they do when they came back? They were in exactly the same kind of situation where they're with the other top team. Why? Because the competition ultimately makes you stronger. It just forces that every ounce out of you, even though psychologically it's exhausting. It makes you tired. It makes you question loyalty. It's not pretty to see how the sausage gets made. But if you watch that like 1 in a Million documentary with Evgeny Medvedeva, and you could like see her looking over her head at Zagitova, like it's intense, but it pulls you out. So I think that for Trusova, I don't think she needs to be as motivated in the competition in terms of the training. I don't think that's the issue. But I do think that going back to Eteri could help her, because remember what they initially fought about was that Eteri wanted her to do like 4, maybe 3 or 4 quads that she could land every day in training, cleanly, positive grades of execution. What did Trusova want to do? She wanted to throw in the triple axel and throw in every quad in the book. Well,
which we love. We love that kind of fighter mentality.
But how many times
Eteri has a point.
When is the last time you saw Trusova do a clean free skate?
Right.
When is the last time? And they complain about her components, which are not great. So she's really relying on politics for components. She's relying on the clean program bonus, the energy from the crowd that the judges get. They're members of the audience, as Scott Hamilton says. And any sort of like movement and smoke and mirrors that they can attach to her skating. But when you fall every time out, the judges can't trust you, and you're changing the program and there are no transitions, and you're like in the middle of a scandal and you're not with the school that they trust, it all falls apart. And like some of it is a lot of
she did win the long in at Worlds, obviously, with a lot of
Do you consider that a win? Do you consider that a win?
Well, I consider it a weak field, and she's going to have a stronger field.
Abysmal, right? That field, the performances, not strong, right?
Exactly.
I would say that she was first place. To call her like the winner is like, you know, on that day.
Well, and if you're used to, it's interesting what Kosternaya brought up sort of also about this kind of structure format that was missing. So I'm going back to live opera in June. So I'm like starting to practice the role again and all this sort of stuff. And I know we're getting closer because I had one of those panic dreams last night where you're on stage and you feel like maybe you're faking it or you're kind of winging it and it's like a nightmare and all this sort of stuff. And I wonder if that's sort of what Trusova felt this whole season. Like, does this count as much? Because it's not the Eteri structure, it's not the rigid preparation, it's not the same format. It's someone that's treating her sort of more like a colleague than a student-coach relationship. So I would imagine she feels like it's kind of fake or unofficial, all of these sorts of
I don't think this was her decision.
Yeah.
We've heard for years, and Raphael confirmed it. Her father did ask him to take her before she went to the Angels of Plushenko, and he did turn her down because he wanted the federation. He doesn't want the wrath of Eteri on him. Oh no! Okay.
Yeah.
It was working such a way. Her father called Morozov. Like, okay, this is they have done everything in the book. He wants the best situation for his daughter, which. Okay, he's an aggressive sportsman, but I do think they didn't trust that she could get the components before against Kosternaya. When she was doing the quads and losing, they just wanted to put all the quads in and get that technical advantage. But I think they showed that, like, well, can she do them all and do them consistently? And at Worlds, I would say she couldn't. Now, she did have an injury, but people do constantly have these smaller injuries rather than, I would say, like a big injury is like a torn Achilles tendon, a torn ACL. Smaller injuries, the ankle, the this, the that nag you and they bother you and whatnot. And I think that this is, you know, a situation. As for the money, listen, these girls are making money. There's money happening. I don't think that the money is the reason for this split. Now, the money may have motivated Plushenko, and that could be a tell there. Does he really have a love of coaching, or is this a business and PR venture?
And I'm thinking about this because he had so much cash. Come on, no matter what you thought about like the showboaty style or whatever, 4 Olympic cycles, 4 medals at each, you know what I mean? Like, but I think now you say Plushenko, and all we know is sort of like a failing school. Where everybody who comes who's good either doesn't excel as much or now leaves instead of all of the accomplishments he had as an athlete. So if you're in it for your own brand, this has gotten really messy here. This is really backfired.
This is the thing, and it happened a little bit with Trankov, and he's backtracking a little bit too, if you really think about it. This idea that you can just like manage a top skater and handle everything and keep them number one might work in the short term, right? But how are you going to really, without the years of experience as a coach, as an athlete, you know, as a brand new coach who was an athlete, this whole idea that like, yes, your athletic experience is just going to carry you through. But maybe you had a coach that was making decisions. Whenever we see this, like Michelle Kwan and go and coach this, someone taking on a kid, like new time, and they start at the top, you can't fake it. Like you have to put your time in. You have to work your way, make your mistakes, learn from them, and go up. And this idea that you can just take 2 of the top girls, yes, maybe it was the biggest PR thing of all time, but he didn't have all the experienced coaches lined up. And they made a lot of rookie mistakes.
And to me, Dave, if Plushenko was truly in his heart of hearts set on becoming the next great Russian coach, to me, he would have aligned with Mishin and been learning from his own guru as he tries to become one in his own right. I think there would have been more collaboration on how to coach, learning how to coach from your own coach, but kind of going it his own with a seemingly lack of connection to Mishin during this whole process also made me wonder where his intentions lied.
So when Courtney Kopetz got the job at Georgia. She had had zero experience, and Suzanne like plucked her in, and she's like, but I'll mentor her and it'll work. Fast forward 2 years later, they no longer, they were no longer really speaking, and like Suzanne's not involved and kind of pushed out, and now they don't talk at all, right? And like Courtney, it didn't just like magically work that she like magically became a coach, because she was never an assistant coach first. She wasn't in that craft. Yes, she was the greatest athlete they ever had, but to get athletes to work in the way that she did, a little bit harder. The skills of like motivating, strategic, she actually is pretty like good strategic mind, good tactical mind, but there are things that you need to do as a coach that an individual athlete who is of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, they may not have those skills because that was done for them, right?
Right.
And another top gymnast called me. We did an interview, and I never released it because Courtney got the job and another one wanted to get a head coaching job too. And I was like, and I asked, like, would you be interested in being an assistant coach? And they were like, no, I just really want to be a head coach. And I was like, literally thinking like, okay, here I am, like a person that goes to a job every day. And like, I'm in the sports world, but this looks ridiculous. All right, I'm not putting my name on this shit. Okay, even like, come on. This is ludicrous that like people think that they can just take these jobs with no experience.
Right.
And like we all pretend like you could like sell it down the river. I thought it was a mistake when Courtney took it with Suzanne, unless Suzanne was going to really co-coach with her. Like, come on. So this whole thing with Plushenko taking on these two top girls and just thinking that he's going to help them, you can help them in the short term, but we saw what was going on with Razanov and Kosternaya, and then their Instagram accounts about that, and like that relationship, that seems like a rookie mistake. And this like what's going on with Trusova, and is Olynyk helping her? Is Sergey helping her? Is Mikhailov helping her? Like, who is the captain on the Titanic? Like, what's going on?
Well, even as people talk about Kolyada with Mishin, that a lot of like super high ups in the sport have said one of Mishin's great strengths is to know how to pace, know how to do an overarching big picture that's not just get this jump higher in the moment. And for someone like Trusova, that would have been outrageously important for this season, to see sort of an overlying arc, a bigger trajectory towards the Olympics instead of just moment by moment, jump by jump. And again, like you say, how do you learn that? You just have to do it. And unfortunately, do you want to be a guinea pig?
I mean, for us, it's been a fabulous year. Honestly, pandemic, no real competitions like usual. Plushenko kept it so entertaining. We had so many views, not a big dip from last year. Like we were just like, dude, like pretty much on like maybe different weeks at different times. Not a bad year for us. Okay. He kept skating interesting. He kept it entertaining.
But now
there was like almost Japan was like, we heard nothing from Japan. We weren't getting the views from Japan. Like nothing was happening in Asia, and their fan base like took a siesta, right?
Yeah.
Russia kept it entertaining for everybody, right?
Yeah. But what happens to Plushenko now?
Listen,
who's left? The Zhilina sisters?
The Zhilina sisters, and he's got like maybe Berezhovskaya, but like, hey, listen, he's going to continue to get the Eteri knockoffs until he delivers, but he needs to have a system. He needs to have coaches that are going to coach with some sort of structure and some sort of you're going to let someone's mom be the coach when they're not really a coach, and Eteri said get lost with the Zhilina sisters. Like this is like a circus, right? And until he becomes serious and disciplined, which comes from experience and setting a tone and having some sort of organization, like it's going to continue to be a sideshow, right? Like you need to decide, maybe get into men's skating. Listen, I would look at the system in Russia and be like, pairs taken care of. Dance, not your area, Plushenko. That's for sure.
Right.
Female, Eteri has female skating down.
Right.
Focus on the men. focus on the Russians who represent Azerbaijan and Belarus and Ukraine, and maybe build your political game that way. Get some international judges, make some friends. But like this whole, I'm just gonna come in at the very top and yell when the judges don't give Trusova the scores and say she was robbed and get everyone riled up and make them money. But it didn't work because they weren't getting the results. And at the end of it,
and you did that great video about Eteri taking her time. Eteri didn't arrive at a level. She was slowly working behind the scenes to get at that level. But because he comes in with such ego and such cachet, one forgets the humility route up that he took the first time around.
Yeah. So, and these girls, like Danny G and Dudikov are not even there this week, right? Eteri is maybe having to come into the rink earlier than she likes to, right? But she's there. What do you think's happening? These girls are probably in their off-season training. When you have 6 top girls on the athletes, it's like turn on the music, put them on the ice. They're going to start to train themselves. And you're like going like this with the arms. Like, it doesn't take a genius to coach them maybe every day, but in terms of the strategy and that takes a master craftsman, and that only comes from years. But for 2 weeks, I think these girls can motivate themselves and each other. And the competition of trying to get their jumps back is probably so intense right now. I mean, I think that you could literally, like in colleges, they always do this with the girls during preseason in gymnastics, where like they literally have their names on like Velcro on the back. And they put them on a leaderboard because the top 6 makes the lineup. And like some schools are like, we believe in transparency. We're going to let you know where you're at any moment. Just like shaming, right? Like they're like,
kind of.
So, and they use it to motivate them. I think Eteri could have a leaderboard behind her and be like, okay.
Here's who's making the Olympic team if it were today.
If it were today. All right, let's look at it. Get a piece of paper. Write it down.
I'm going to write it on my phone. Oh, no, I do. Here, wait. I know exactly. Are we doing 1 through 6 or are we doing just the top 3?
No, let's do it. Let's do 1 through 6.
Okay. It's like homework. Ooh, this is tough. Okay.
All right, I got it.
Wait, hold on, my pen.
Then let's do like what you project, and also put an arrow if you think they're going up or down. If stock is going up or down.
Oh, okay. This pen.
Okay.
Okay. So who do you have first?
Valyeva.
With an arrow up.
With an arrow up.
Yeah, Anna.
Number 2, Anna with an arrow down.
Same.
3, Trusova with an arrow up.
Yes, same.
4th, I have Daria with the arrow up because she's been consistent throughout this show.
Okay, so I have her 5th, but with the arrow up, so I could see this switching. Yeah.
I actually have Kosternaya with the arrow up because she can't be any lower than she was last season.
Okay. And then Maya in 6th, but with an arrow up.
And I have Maya down.
You do? Okay.
Listen. She does not have the skating skills or the star power.
No. But when I'm telling you, I think she proved the impossible when she landed 2 different quads that one thing.
One time.
But that's why I think she if she does it again, she could stand to improve her skating.
Listen,
but she won't.
This is a snapshot. This is not a rule. Next week, these could change. And then next week, Maya might move to number 4.
That's why it's Velcro, Dave.
Yes, that's why it's Velcro. Yeah. You can move. All right.
So what did you think? So when we saw kind of that Kosternaya triple axel under show lights, which unfortunately was such poor quality, the video itself, that it was hard to tell what was happening with the feet. So you think the stock might be rising based on that, or just in general?
She was not capable of that at the Russia Cup final. Look how much she's improved in such a short amount of time, how much energy and passion she's brought into Russian skating, and the Guess brand is tweeting at her. What do I think? I think Eteri's going to be a very wealthy woman by the end of the year, and the person whose stock really went down is Tutberidze. And people aren't going to want to hear it. Eteri is going to sweep the Olympics. With this, if they stay healthy enough, with this amount of competition, training each other every day, Tutberidze by herself, an older athlete trying to get these jumps, doesn't have like the skating skills. It's just nearly impossible. It's just nearly impossible. And she'll go off like a grand dame, and hopefully they have like an
And what a season this was to give her when it seems like most likely. But of course, I thought she wasn't even going to be on the world team this year, let alone medal, let alone silver.
Now that Trusova is back in a structured environment.
Yeah.
I think we realize that these girls all look alike. They've all got like dirty blonde to light brown hair. Literally.
They all do the same leg kick. It's a transition before and after every jump. Yeah.
It doesn't matter which three make it.
Right.
Rika Kihira has a bad back injury. Of course, the Japanese say she'll be fine. Of course. But she can't compete with them. Right. And they know it.
Right. And the judges will never let Kaori in.
Mia Hamada is focused on the next generation coming up.
Yeah.
She's got girls coming up that they know that they are not in the lead right now.
Right. No one poses a threat.
Zero threat.
Kaori closest, but she would need someone to fall. She would need someone to fail.
More than one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and more than once within the program, because again, the jumping is great, but it has limited value on paper compared to the others. So,
I mean, we'll see, right? What do I think is going to happen in a year? I think Daria could move up. I think Kostranaya could move up. But, you know, if someone moves up, someone has to move down. And that's just like the way that this works. Yeah. But I think that Eteri, you know, she scores them every day. So I think she could just have like the leaderboard of every day. Oh my God, the fans would go bananas. Okay. But you know who we aren't seeing on the leaderboard is Zagitova or Medvedeva. Now we think they're done, but that's not official. Now they're only going to get above the books funding is for the national team is only going to be for 6 or 7 girls. So are Evgeny and Zagitova still going to be funded? You know, Medvedeva is supposed to be a Russian ambassador for the Olympics. Even though they can't have a flag, they're going to send her to the Tokyo Olympics, is my understanding, or she's supposed to be an ambassador for it. Now, who knows if she'll be able to go with these, you know, right. Let's say that she could go, right? Or even let's say that she's doing a ton of media on First Channel during the Olympics or whatever network, right? And let's say she's doing it from her apartment in Moscow. If you're so focused on media and training in the summer before your Olympics,
I think we have to know that she's not really making an attempt.
Her fans don't know that. Her fans say she's getting that quad sal and she is coming. Or is this really how we start to transition into her maybe managing some of these younger skaters at Team Tutberidze and coach or choreographing and still skating herself?
Again, I've always pretended in my own mind that she could become a great coach with now all of the varied and worldwide information she has. And again, if she stays aligned with the Eteri camp and the coming upness, and she's a part of that, I could see her become an heir to this kind of dynasty of training.
Oh my God. She would be the most entertaining coach of the boards.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course.
Because I think, again, she is a real student of the sport. And I thought that when she moved to Canada. She learned other things. She went to other people. There's more well-roundedness in the information she's received over her career now.
What did she learn in Canada?
Well, probably things she could have learned when she was younger and maybe could teach younger people now. Like she could be like, oh, these ice dance or speed drills or ice coverage drills that I was unable to do, I could start giving those to the young kids and it could make a big shift. Sometimes realizing where your weaknesses are could ultimately. I was talking to a
Canadian this morning, and they were like, "I just think it's going to be too intense for these girls in Russia." And I was like,
"It's been that way forever."
Sambo 70.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Tracy Wilson is going to come sit down with them and talk about their feelings and what color their aura is at the end of the day. Right. I think they're going to like, we saw the Evgeny Medvedeva 1 in a million documentary where she's smashing her head into the boards. I think that is what's going to happen between now and the Olympics. And that's the intensity level. And there will be winners and there will be losers.
And no one will care about the process because of course it will always yield results.
She gets results.
And if you're more result focused than anything else, then you've got a winner in this plan.
Oh, and what are Russians? Result focused. And we are in America too. Although then we also have articles where we say that we care about the process. Although, do you want to know how you know that that's like bullshit? Valentina Rodionenko said that without Simone Biles, the Russian gymnast could beat the US. And the Americans were like, oh, no, you could not. And then they start like showing like different lineups and different.
Okay.
There. Yeah. We want to win.
Yeah. But again, to me, that's because it's also so sport or team oriented rather. And again, I like skating because it's so individual oriented, or can be ideally for those who really follow the sport and not just their country.
Anyway, how about Eteri coaching Tarasova and Morozov? Remember, Trankov told us it wasn't going to happen. Now he's working for Eteri, of course. It's like Eteri snaps her fingers and she's like, I want a pair team. And they're like, okay. And everyone this is how powerful she is, Jonathan, okay? She is a true queen. You know what's going to happen. She's going to say, I want my daughter to be on the Olympic team. And they're going to be like, okay.
You think they'd sack Jonathan and Tiffany?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to say, thank you, Jonathan's mother, for helping us out of the 4 continents, giving us the calls we needed and wanted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany, for your beautiful hair. See you next season. Yes, you think they would give zero? How you see how beautiful that team was at the Junior Russian Cup final?
The Krylova team? Yes.
Yes, they made everyone cry. They were so wonderful.
Second. Yeah.
To Diana Davis and her Gleb Smolkin, who's like the son of a famous actor.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing also.
What movies do we have to watch? I would love to watch some Russian movies. Please put some recommendations, whatever Gleb is like allegedly connected to. I don't know his father. Like he's not a star here. Like we will watch. Okay.
It's the father that's famous?
I believe.
Okay.
Maybe it's the mother. Who knows? Okay.
Let's find out.
You're absolutely wrong. It is his father's brother. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you say he's only
Russophobe? Yeah, because you got it wrong.
I'm like, we're saying we want to watch the movie. Maybe it's a great movie. Maybe I will love the movie so much. I'll be like, see,
you'll become a fanboy.
He has such wonderful acting skills on the ice. And if this was an American commentator, or really anyone, they'd be like, I think he learned from his father.
Yeah, it would be like watch the dad growing up. Yeah.
Have you ever watched like Karen Kadabi skate and they'll be like, her mother was a ballerina. Oh. Or like when they talk about like Danny G's mom, see, that's why he's such a great choreographer. His mother was a ballerina.
The mom didn't choreograph, I'm guessing. Maybe
like,
she was given the choreography.
She put the girls in the point shoes, and then the ballet fans are like all arguing about like why that's bullshit because they can get injured because they're not standing well. And you know the Russians believe that they know ballet better than anyone. But then the fans would be like, "You hate Russia! How dare you criticize the girls for wearing the point shoes?" And then like the real ballerinas will be like, they're gonna hurt their foot if they're like, "Oh my god!" All you need is a photo of Kostranaya and the point shoes, and the Instagram comments will just go off because the ballerinas have zero chill, chill, and they will fight. The Russian fans have zero chill, and they will fight.
Okay.
You just have to say thank you, Plushenko. Thank you, Eteri. You are giving us so much entertainment. I still don't think that Evgeny Tarasova has any joy. I didn't believe that she was excited to meet Leonardo DiCaprio on the Titanic. Her partner was not doing it for her because she didn't have any joy in her face.
Yeah, and I don't know that Eteri's strength is drawing joy out of skaters.
Excuse me, izvini. You ever watch Sherbakova skate? She's so sick. She coughing. She dying. Next day, she draw so many emotion, joy. Like resound. national. Oh my God. Joy.
Joy.
You want joy?
Yes.
Who are you?
I want joy.
Who
I want
are you?
joy.
Gossip
Johnny
Liar?
America.
You
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
smile in the practice? You want to
That's right.
smile in the practice, or do you want to smile on the podium?
Yeah, both. I feel like both are possible. Damn it. Sigh. But now here's the thing.
The other day, I was telling Galina, I was like, I'm feeling like just like a little like nervous. You know, the competition's coming up. The kids that are coached by like Russian skaters at the ring, some of them, they like will cut you off. There's this girl, Soyun, that will skate into you. You could be doing a camel. You could be doing a camel spin, and she will like skate like she will. She does. I don't know if she like wants to like maybe hurt herself. Like I am not sure, but like she will be like.
She's Laetitia Hubert. Okay. Yes. Okay.
And like she gets yelled at the rink. Like it has happened. Okay. And I was like, Galina, I'm just like feeling like a little nervous, you know, because like when you're going for Lutz and like you have to set up, you don't know that like if Soyun is going to go like right behind you, like you do not know, you cannot trust it. Okay. And then there will be like a 6-year-old on the ice who like doesn't know to move, who's like, this happens on sessions. Okay. Like, and you're like, where is the mother? Like, what is going on? Okay? Like, this girl could get killed. Right. And she's like, nervous people go to the doctor. I am Olympic coach.
Okay. Great. I guess we settled it then. I guess I feel fine. Good talk. Good talk. Yeah. Yikes. Wait, here's the thing I am interested in talking about was you sent me a trailer, or the website rather, for this Benoit project.
Oh yes, Carte Blanche.
I am 100% in. 100% like enthused and jazzed by this idea after so many shows of spotlights and freaking Billie Eilish and just nonsense. I am ready for what it claims to do in its mission statement, which is bring the sport of figure skating back to outside of skating, performance art in general, and marrying the two. And I was like screaming in my head, yes, more of this. This is 100% what I want to see.
So I called Benoit the other night. We talked for like an hour. They're filming a documentary about him. It's in the second teaser phase, but it's like on track to go to one of the streaming services. Like he signed like big contracts with like big agency type people. Like this is very legit. He's basically going to have his own contemporary French version of like the John Curry Company, except like Benoit style.
But I think that's great because and you have brought me back to a lot of that by showing a lot of the John Curry specials. Remember when we watched the Strawberry on Ice situation? Yeah. That thing was a trip, the Tyler Cranston stuff. But again, that's given way to just like thrown together Scotch tape shows with just like lame pop music and spotlights. And just the footage alone that they were showing was so stunning. It was stunning.
It shows you where the idea is. And I think that Cirque du Soleil tried to do it because it's clear that skating needs a new way, right?
Yeah.
It needs this like old style of the shows. Like we've just like seen it, right? And I think that when there are so many different options, you have to show something great, you know, and they really want a top of the line thing. Now, the funny thing to me is he goes, Div. I can't do the French accent, so I can't.
You default Russia.
I default Russia, and I can't do it.
Okay.
But he's got like a very thick accent going on. And like, I can understand all the Russians, but I'm like, Benoit, what did you just say? Like, he told me
there's almost like, they are always talking like this, and you cannot even tell.
Yes.
Where was the inflection? Yeah, okay.
He was like, I like this guy. He's like telling Lindsay Thornton, I like this guy. He is so honest, you know? He's very American. Like, I can't do the way he said it, but it was like,
okay.
Even when he like criticized me, I know it's true. Like, you know? So he's like, I am going to ask skaters from all over the world. He wants them to submit tapes of themselves skating, but not submit their names. He just wants to see the art. And I'm like, you are so full of shit, Benoit. Do you think that there is a skater on this planet Earth that we have all not seen before? Like,
that's the thing. Someone of the quality he's looking for. Inevitably, we're going to know.
Who we're going to cast in this show.
Who?
Liz Schmidt. All right. Liz Schmidt. She went to his show in thing. Liz Schmidt is famous in TSL parlance because I had a run-in with Dick Button's henchwoman, like the Gen K of his organization, Urena.
Okay.
She's a legend, all right? She went to the Ice Theater of New York. She ran all of those world pros. When you see Kavazhikova and Novotny, and they go into, she's the one that comes down, all right?
Okay.
The scariest woman in skating. Also got everything done. Major respect to her. But we had a situation where like old meets new technology. So I've been invited to Ice Theater events every year, and I would go. And I had taken videos and posted them of Roheen and Jeremy and Evan, and they got a couple thousand views, no dent. So one year they commissioned Lorna Brown to do this piece, Liz Schmidt, When Atoms Embrace. That's right. It starts taking off in like about to go viral, or viral for skating type way. In a way that like Morgan and Vanessa went, but like very rare things happen in this sport.
Yeah, truly.
But they were
Riverdance.
But Ice Theater wanted to sell a DVD. But you're like, no one buys DVDs anymore. Like, who gives a shit? It was going viral.
Well, and all the more reason people would buy the DVD. Yeah.
They had two things, and I was like, this is perfect for social media because it's current and it's different and it's lit well, and it's that girl that does the sonar with the flap, and the Schmidt, and it was just taking off. And she was like really scary with me. And then she was like, only 90 seconds. So I had things on Instagram that were a minute. And then she called me again and she was like, you didn't take those down. I'm like, but they were a minute and you said only 90 seconds. And she's, yeah.
Well, you're missing the point.
You're missing the point because how many people see it and want to fund Ice Theater or want to go to your show. And I wasn't making any money off of these things. With copyright stuff. Like, no. Like, zero.
Right.
This is just promotion for skating and these people and the show and the art. Let me tell you something. Liz Schmidt is going to be in this show. I saw her at the Benoit seminar last week. It was interesting because Brady was there skating, and Brady skates fast in person, and Liz Schmidt was the queen of the ice. She cannot jump like Brady Tennell. Yeah, I will tell you that I think that she is the best female skater in the world right now, along with Yevon Mock, in terms of skating. Not jumping, skating.
Yeah.
I think those two I would put in my show.
Okay.
There's an Angela Kim. I would put her. Some of these other people, maybe Roheen, if Roheen can be like in the Benoit box, because he has a lot of his, I don't know what style it's going to be, right? But
yeah,
you have an idea. I would like, he needs some names. So I would think like Daisuke, Papadakis, and Cizeron, like pay them the big money, right?
Yeah.
But then...
But what an opportunity for someone like Satoko also. Yeah.
Like, these are the types. I think you could have a gorgeous show. It would be like what Cirque du Soleil wanted to do, but they should have called Benoit and Lorna Brown. Instead, they hired random people, and not that they're not good, but like Cirque du Soleil, you want the best of the best. You want this avant-garde, and they tried to force it. I think Cirque du Soleil had this idea of doing like a really sophisticated, but then they wanted to have acrobats and teach them skating for 6 weeks. Like what? Like
this isn't a reality show. Yeah,
this is just like it wasn't like a what are you doing? Like what is the maybe put in like have like the acrobats like when you go to the Celine Dion like Vegas show and the people like Cirque du Soleil are like the clown, but like maybe start with the art form of skating and bring that other stuff in as layers. Instead, they
Well, and again, normally I am so repulsed by spotlight work. It just always makes it look so hokey. But to see the lighting they were already doing in these and like the kind of edge work you can really appreciate in this kind of camera work, like next level. Again, the mission statement alone, Henry.
He has his own composer. He's like,
I think this is a thing.
I do think that he has a lot to offer. Look, he gave some really great just exercises for like getting into your knees and ankles. They can certainly use them at MJM when they come back. That would be beneficial. But like if every skater started doing those like in the morning, they'd probably skate better during the day. But I think people focus so much on the jumps and everyone does it. And overall, it's interesting. I asked him why he does like all those like, what is this about? And all of like, so a lot of those are bullets so that the judges will just reward it easily.
Well, remember when we were like really breaking down IJS, they were talking about actual physical levels. Yeah.
So that's why it all looks, that's why every step sequence has the Benoit skaters going like that.
Yeah.
In terms of his choreography is not easy. I think it's like one of those years process things. And
I think it's like, again, I loved when Aliona was talking to us and she was like, most people can't do his choreography. It's so advanced. Yeah.
I do think he's good at picking music for people mostly, I think. Yeah. I saw Lindsay's program and I thought he picked good music for her. So it was.
Did she announce what she's doing? Are you allowed to say?
Okay, so Benoit picked another choice for Lindsay. And Yulia works with another skater at the rink, another coach at the rink, and I'm just going to say that that coach's student is maybe using the exact cut of music that Benoit might have suggested for someone. I mean, the hilariousness of goes on in skating. It is so competitive and petty. And oh, and like Nikolai Morozov like used the music for someone else. It's like a piano version of Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Wound up being used by Michael Martinez, who is not being used Benoit.
Okay.
I mean, the connected dots there, hysterical. Okay, you have to laugh. Okay.
Crazy. Because what is Lindsay doing, or they didn't say?
I mean, I don't know if it's like a big announcement.
Like we need that group after us again. But you did send me Satoko announced, and so did Jason.
Yes. So Satoko is she's keeping the Tosca for the free.
It's so beautiful.
But for the short program, Lyra Angelica.
I mean, I think we were not going to see it at the Olympics.
Okay, I think that's fine.
I hope it's just a lovely program that I can.
Because there are some Kwan fans that feel like this is sacred music, you can't do it, right?
Well, she's not doing it for the long, so I think inherently already we're going to get a different enough cut. And if anyone's going to take it, give it to Satoko. And isn't Lori choreographing it?
Oh
no, she's not. Okay.
Jeff Buttle is doing it. But remember, Jeff Buttle was such a Michelle Kwan fanboy that he had like one of those GeoCities or Angel Fire fan pages for Michelle in 1998, which makes me just love it because
that does make me love him.
Like it wasn't Lori being like shady and giving away Michelle's music. It's someone that really loves and honors Michelle. I think Satoko is a fine skater to do it. If it were someone else doing it.
Yeah, it would be tricky.
I mean, I think Gracie Gold is using a Michelle Kwan music like the other people are using like Michelle Kwan music this year for different things. So it's fine. Okay?
And although Satoko is using also Tosca, it's a very different cut.
Okay, the Lyra Angelica wasn't Michelle. It has like the big gymnopede part in the middle, which was also from the John Curry show, which Lori Nickel was in. So like not everything is borrowed. Okay.
Yeah.
Borrowed and new and blue, like when you get married. Right?
That is Lyra Angelica. Yeah.
Right? So listen, I think it's great. Okay. Satoko is like at the same technical level of Michelle now. On
rollerblades. Yeah.
I think it's great. Okay. Listen, it's good for Michelle. The fans will be upset, but this is what Michelle can do.
Michelle won't be upset.
You have to for Instagram, you have to take like a 30-second to 45-second like clip of Satoko looking beautiful. So you have to take the part when she's not jumping.
Right.
And
step sequence, choreographic moment.
Sequence to the spins.
Yeah.
And then Michelle can film a video of herself and like splice them together. And she can either be at the East-West rink or she can be on rollerblades, splice them together. Great for everyone on Instagram. Okay.
100%.
Followers, they can, if she
keep it irrelevant.
Bored, it is just like, it's great publicity for everyone. All right.
I think so too. Yeah.
An homage. Okay.
If you will.
get behind it. You know?
Yeah, I am.
I think Michelle will be behind it. So I think her fans can be okay. I think, and you know what? I think the Kwan ladies like Satoko. I think Mary Lou Reef will be like, okay.
Yeah.
I think Mary Lou will be like,
worthy.
Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If a Russian did it, absolutely not. Okay.
Perhaps,
If Danny G took that music, they would.
Because as we know, any music could be playing for Danny G and he'll give it the same treatment. So for $300 a half an hour. I mean, damn, I got up my rates.
Jason doing Cinderman and Schindler's List. I mean, two greats. I would have liked to have seen one new program.
Okay, let's chalk it up. Cinderman, you know, I think Cinderman is, again, like the ultimate of programs for all time male skating. Schindler's List was lovely. I guess when I saw it, I was like, that was beautiful, but it wasn't iconic to me in the way so many of his programs have been.
I don't know. I just love that music. I was rewatching it and I was like, someone should do this music.
And it's so, we're coming out of such like a heavy time, such like a weighted, dark time. And his skating has the power to lift people up. And I guess just the overall mood of the Schindler's List program will bring more heaviness, more darkness. And he has the power to, again, make something ethereal. I would have loved to have seen something more joyous. I guess there we go again with my desire to be joyfully entertained. And that's, again, more of a serious moment. You know, I find it hard to believe such a heavy Schindler's List program will go viral from the Olympics, where something happy, which Riverdance was, which Prince was, Cinderman is not joyous, but it's dynamic. So I don't know. For me, I would have loved to do
like a Kevin Amos do like "It's a Sin" by the actor that's in the HBO limited series sings like the theme, and Freddie Bidet uses it at the rink. He loves to skate around, and I love it.
Okay.
He also put on "Cries" with Beirut the other day, and I may have recreated the choreography.
Yeah, like you had a choice. It's like the law. If you hear it, you've got to do it. Yeah. Complete with the lay down at the end?
No, I didn't get that. I was in the middle of a spin lesson, but I definitely gave like Kristen Fraser some like art.
Surya magic. Yeah. Okay.
Come on. It's iconic.
Remember that costume in Lillehammer? It was like a Lisa Frank explosion with like the ruffle on the one.
Gorgeous. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you think Trusova can get consistent, Jonathan? Do you think Eteri can put her in the box? I think that Trusova should be tail between her legs. I think the father should maybe just like, I think the father should play ball. Try to play ball for like 4 or 5 months. Try to play ball. I think Eteri should have said, you have to cut your hair if you're coming back. I would have done it. I would have done it. I am a bad person, okay? But I would have said, we want to sell you to brands and we want you looking the most sophisticated possible.
Yeah, there is
Tracy
like
Wilson did it to Jason Brown. She made him cut it.
Yeah.
Even nice Tracy was like, Jason,
it's time.
That was disgusting. Okay.
Yeah, it's time. And now we view him as a young man, not as a kid. And when she's on the ice, she has a much more mature look, but then you see her with like the hair down to the floor surrounded by puppies and you're like, oh my God, that's right. This is a child. This is a kid. But if she's looking to make the most out of her post-Olympic experience, she may want to look.
She's going to keep competing. What rink she'll be at, who knows?
Yeah.
We don't have that contract. I don't know. Like, I think we shall see, but I am ready. Do you think Eteri coaching Tarasova and Morozov? Look, they're still going to be with Trankov. I think she's going to make, if they're not injured, I think it would be hard for them to be less consistent, right? I think.
Yeah, it's a like in the same way with Morris, like it's an interesting choice because I think that there may be limitations to the students you're taking in this particular area, and even your strong will and structure. You may be facing something, again, with the adult age of Tarasova and Morozov and the history of Tarasova and Morozov. you may not find, again, a willing, submissive energy like she might find in the younger skaters that just want to do it right.
Don't go for joy. Don't go for romance.
Yeah.
Find some angst-filled music, some pantomiming, and train them like hell.
Yeah. Find a music that gets them out of their head or whatever. Because there's such a disconnect, again, whether it's that they don't want to be skating or they don't believe in what they're doing.
Who cares? You're skating for the next year. You signed up for it.
Yeah. Did they? Or are they being coerced into it? That's what I wonder. If they skate like they're being told they have to. Well,
you're allowed to leave. They could go coach learn to skate.
Yeah.
But what happened to everyone else who quit? Do you remember them?
Right. Right.
What titles do you have?
Plushenko would be fine with it. Yeah.
Okay. I would say get a title or shut up. Get a title or quit. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
let's see. I mean, again, they've had access to a lot of different types of people, but perhaps none like Eteri. But between Nina, Marina, Trenkov, then Voronov trying to help with the jumps,
and there are 2 gymnastics docuseries coming out, Jonathan. And because we're just on the lead to the Olympics, I'm gonna make you watch them. Okay.
I would be happy to. Anything that helps me enjoy the Olympics more. When are the Olympics, by the way?
In July. Now.
Early or late?
Aren't they mid to late? Second half?
Mid to late. Dave, I think I'm gonna be in Italy for them, which is just so funny because for the London Games and for the Rio Games, I was in France, and the coverage is always so messed up when you're in Europe because they're only going to be showing.
Where are you going to be in Italy? Where in Italy?
Trentino, northern Italy.
Is this an Amanda Knox situation? Where's Trentino? What's going on?
Which is, no, it's not.
Don't have any roommates, Jonathan.
No,
American in Italy. I am terrified of going to.
No, don't let that ruin it for you.
Oh my God. Oh my God, could you imagine? She had one of those sexy MySpace names and they're turning her into a murderer.
Oh my God.
I don't want you going to Italy, okay? Those Italians are very passionate, okay?
I've been in Italy working a bazillion times. I've had no problems at all.
I'm not
organized rehearsal schedule, you bet, but I've not had.
I am terrified of the Italian, okay? I have watched too many episodes.
This is practically by Austria. This is Austrian Italian region. And nothing ever went wrong in Austria.
What in your past could be spun to make you into a murderer? Okay, they could be
he was on a skating show. He hates Russians.
He was on a skating show, and those are knives attached to feet. Therefore, he is a killer. Okay.
He is the Mariah Bell of the.
He vases, and he would smash that over someone's head. You are going to prison. Right? I'm not going to Perugia, whatever it is. Okay. One of them is a city, it's a town in Italy where they will throw Americans in jail. And the other one is a war zone. All right. Either or, not going. There's Perugia, I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going. All right. I'll go to Florence.
Okay? But what I will, Florence, we love. But what I will tell you is that,
I don't know. They might drown you in that dirty water. Okay.
I know it is so dirty. It is so dirty. It's tough for me sometimes. But the point is, I'm going to get Italian biased coverage of the Olympics now. And so it's only going to be the summer sports that Italy is.
You'll get to watch all the cyclists who are all doping. It'll be perfect for.
It'll be a nice tie-in. Yeah. Okay. But the docuseries.
Book on the way there. And maybe a book about Lance Armstrong. Okay.
Okay. To really just drive the point home. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the series coming out?
Well, one is following 5 gymnasts, and there's this gymnast Morgan Hurd who's going to be in it, and
she wears glasses, right?
Yes, and she's been a real fan favorite, but she might be injured, and everyone's trying to cover her ass. But she had an elbow surgery, and they do the post 100 days out, and if you're if you're in a sport that's from one of the national governing bodies that gets money from NBC, you're supposed to post yourself training 100 days out. She posted a picture, not a video. And then they have camp this week and she's not there. So but she's been at many protests, which to me makes her more interesting.
Right.
I would
more of a person.
Could you imagine if we are watching the Olympic trials and like a gymnast who knows that they have no shot just decides that like she is going to be a political protester? She's like, I think she was at an event with that Emma Tang, the skating protester. I mean, come on. We need Morgan Hurd to protest when she's coming off the balance beam. And then the other one that's not at camp is Olivia Greaves, who's involved in Maggie Haney. And like, she was supposed to go to this college with this like Riley McCusker, only Riley is suing Maggie. Like, oh my, there's so much drama going on. Fascinating shit, okay? Let me tell you, Jonathan, like the Olympics brings it out of people, okay? Competition, blind ambition, like this Eteri magic.
Well, this will be a good switch up because all I watch is this series on HBO Max called The Great Pottery Throwdown. It is amazing, and there's like a supermodel on season 2, and I melt every time I watch him like make something. It's pretty amazing. Please.
You watch like the Great British Bake Off?
As we've established, cooking and that sort of stuff isn't really my jam, but the Great Pottery Throwdown definitely is.
I'm watching Mayor of Easttown, watching like Kate Winslet drink beer out of the bottle and solve crime.
Oh. Then throw it off the Titanic. And
very Kate Winslet week, like Tarasova and Morozov skating to the Titanic, watching Kate. I'm all into it.
Lovely.
Lots of fun.
They are taking a revolutionary road with Eteri. Okay.
All right. Holden Etchen looks sexy, everyone.